Its iconic blue waters are recognisable the world over. But the Maldives archipelago, which consists of 1,200 islands in the Indian Ocean, is living on borrowed time. With 80% of its territory less than a metre above sea level, the country is threatened by rising waters linked to climate change.
There used to be a port here and a big beach, but now it's all gone.
Zafar Mohammed and his neighbour Faiza live on the small island of Delfolie.
Zafar, do you think this coconut will last until July?
In recent years, they have watched helplessly as their island has shrunk. The ocean is slowly eating away at the coastline, and one by one, the coconut trees are falling.
Since I was a child, I've never seen so many coconut palms disappear into the sea. We used to lose a few trees, but not at such a rapid rate. We don't understand how or why the waters are rising. We're really afraid for the future. We don't know what's going to happen.
This erosion is also due to the many construction projects on the archipelago. To support the tourism industry, which accounts for a third of the country's economy, the authorities are building more and more artificial islands to build hotels on.
The whole thing is artificially created, and you wouldn't think that this is the Maldives, actually.
For over 10 years, this environmental activist has been speaking out against the practice. To create the islands, sand has to be dredged from deep within the reef. The dredging machines cause considerable damage to the reef, which can then no longer act as a natural barrier against rising sea levels.
When the government goes ahead with huge infrastructure projects, we lose resilience of the reefs. Our natural defenses must be protected if we want to be safeguarded from climate change as well.
To bring the reefs back to life,
just be really careful around the coral.
Marine biologists from all over the world are looking after the local coral formations. Karina Weiler is German.
I try to go a little bit bigger, and then you can restart twisting.
Her mission, to attach pieces of healthy coral onto lengths of rope. Then secure them in this underwater nursery. Immersed in the ocean, the coral will take up to a year to regenerate and once again form a bulwark against rising sea levels.
Corals play a huge part in protecting islands because they form barriers between the island and the ocean. So they reduce wave action. If the reefs in front of the islands start to crumble because the corals die, that's when they lose their protective attributes, and then you can see erosion all over the islands.
The NGO hopes to plant more than 80,000 hectares of coral. But reshaping the reef will take time. So to provide alternative accommodation for those directly threatened by rising sea levels, 3 years ago the government launched the construction of the world's first floating artificial island.
This one, we have actually done a model to show how it looks like the whole city when it is done.
On the outskirts of the capital Male, this island, designed by a Dutch company, will accommodate 20,000 people. It will include housing as well as sports grounds, mosques and administrative buildings, at a cost of €1 billion. According to the project director, this floating city will be perfectly adapted to rising sea levels.
This is floating. It's a 24-hour tidal change. The floating city goes down and comes back and always maintain 1.52 meter above sea level. So in the normal gust, hard storms, there will be no impact on the land. So it is more sustainable, more safe than a normal island.
The city is supposed to be operational by 2027, but only this show home has been built. For now, displaced residents have to look after themselves.
We lost 2 houses. There was so much damage. We had to leave.
Nizar Mohammed is now a climate-displaced person within his own country. Almost 10 years ago, he left his home island, which had been swallowed up by the ocean, to take refuge on this atoll located 180 kilometres away. But here again, he is at the ocean's mercy.
One day, the water came through the door and rose up to here, and all the houses were flooded. Climate change is making us fear for our safety. But we don't want to leave our country because of the rising water. Some people have advised us to go to Sri Lanka or India, but we want to stay in the Maldives.
Nizar, like thousands of other inhabitants, knows his days here are numbered. According to some World Bank experts, the Maldives could be completely submerged by the end of the century.